Rafe has bad news for Jada. At the bistro, Ava and Harris entered ahead of their plans for a private regale. Ava claimed that she prepared regale. Harris said that he wanted to watch Ava cook because she was easy on the eyes. Ava smiled affectionately at Harris. Back at you, operative, she fooled. Ava made puttanesca for regale, and she opened the most precious bottle of wine in the eatery. Ava and Harris heeded to Harris's survival. Ava recalled that she had been beside herself when she would allowed that Harris wouldn't survive. Ava appertained to Harris as the strongest, kindest, most pious person she had ever known. The stylish person I've ever known. And just being loved by you, it makes me suppose that perhaps I'm okay, if he wants to be with me, Ava said tenderly. You are not just okay. How can I put this? Just everything I want. Just everything I need, Harris said hypercritically. After regale, Harris asked Ava to dance. Ava agreed, and she and Harris danced sluggishly as soft music played above. Harris and Ava peered into one another's eyes, and he cradled her in his arms as they decelerate danced. Ava said that she wished she could stay in that moment with Harris ever. When the discussion shifted to Ava's future, Ava surprised Harris when she said that she'd no longer work at the bistro. Harris asked what Ava intended to do for a living. Ava said only that she'd find a illicit job. I am serious, Harris. I'm no way going back to that life. No way, Ava brutally pledged. At Wendy and Tripp's apartment, Wendy admitted to Tripp that she was still traumatized from their time as hostages at the abandoned beer tank. Tripp sought to assure Wendy that they would both move past the trauma. Wendy revealed that she had slightly been sleeping and that, when she was suitable to sleep, she had recreating dreams that she was still trapped inside the beer tank. Tripp suggested that he and Wendy have a fun date night, and he returned with Jenga blocks. Wendy bothered that Tripp had only proposed to her because of low oxygen situations the couple had sustained at the beer tank. Tripp said that he did not lament anything he would said at the beer tank. Tripp added that he wanted to marry Wendy for multitudinous reasons. Wendy said that she felt she and Tripp had skipped several important ways in their marriage at the beer tank. I mean, it's easy to say till death do us part when you suppose death is 10 twinkles down, Wendy noted. Latterly, when Tripp proposed a toast using beer, the smell of the beer touched off Wendy's feelings. Wendy began to wheeze, and she told Tripp that she could not breathe. Tripp tried to console Wendy, who started to cry before she knocked the Jenga pieces to the bottom in a fit of fear, convinced fever. Latterly, Tripp apologized that his plan to distract Wendy had boomeranged. At Xander and Sarah's apartment, Xander showed Sarah a snap of the shooter from the night of Harris's firing. Xander noted the difference between the jogging pants he would worn and the pants on the shooter, and he said that he'd evidence of his innocence. Sarah was thrilled, and she and Xander rushed to the police station. In Rafe's office at the Salem police station, Rafe and Jada were intruded when Rafe entered a call. Rafe agreed to meet Jada at the Brady pub. After Jada left, Rafe was surprised by commodity he learned by phone. Yeah. This has gone not get unattractive, Rafe said to himself after the call ended. A short while latterly, Xander and Sarah appeared with the stopgap of clearing Xander's name in Harris's firing. Xander and Sarah showed Rafe what they believed was evidence of Xander's innocence. Rafe sounded to agree with Sarah and Xander, who said that he'd been motivated because he'd been fighting for his life as well as his family. Xander and Sarah hugged. Latterly, back at Xander and Sarah's apartment, Xander and Sarah celebrated the evidence of Xander's innocence. After Victoria fell asleep, Xander said that he was thankful to have Sarah in his life. Sarah and Xander were happy, and they kissed. At the Brady pub, Stephanie joined Everett at a table. Everett revealed that he'd seen commodity that had spooked him when he would been under hypnotism during his remedy session with Marlena. Everett flashed back to seeing himself with a minatory grin on his face. Everett admitted that the vision had frightened him, and he said that he had not told Marlena about it. Jada entered the cantina and set up Everett and Stephanie together again. Agitated, she had harsh words for them. Stephanie said that she did not understand where Jada's hostility and station stemmed from, and she participated that Everett had attended a remedy session with Marlena. Jada demanded to know what Everett and Marlena had bandied in his remedy session. Jada laughed cynically when Everett said that he'd seen himself smiling, and she called him egocentric. Everett tried to apologize to Jada, who continued to hurl cuts at Everett. He said that he felt confused and anguished that he could not flash back his time with Jada in Seattle. Stephanie asked Jada to show compassion for Everett. Jada refused, and she walked down. Latterly, Stephanie said that she did not understand why Jada was constantly on the attack about Everett. Stephanie wondered if Marlena would speak to Jada. Everett said that the stylish thing was for him to stay down from Jada. Everett added that he'd commodity to tell Stephanie. Rafe set up Jada alone at the bar. Rafe told Jada that he'd news that could not stay. Rafe participated that he'd entered a call from an old friend that had started a private law practice near Seattle. Anyway, I asked him to do some digging for me. Well, I am not sure exactly how to tell you this, Rafe said before breaking. Back at their table, Everett told Stephanie that his passions for her had not changed. I love you, Steph. You are everything to me, Everett said. At the same time, Jada contended for Rafe to tell her what he would learned. Your divorce papers? They were no way duly filed. So, you are still married to him. Fairly, you're still Mrs. Robert Stein, Rafe said. Jada sluggishly shook her head in unbelief. Jada's big shocker, divorce papers, no way filed? Days of Our Lives, DOOL, spoilers, and updates tease Jada Hunter, Elia Cantu, is in for a big stunner. She and Rafe Hernandez, Galen Gehring, want to get wedded but there's commodity in the way. She finds out she's still fairly married to Bobby Stein, Blake Barris. Days of Our Lives spoilers, it's going to get ugly. Rafe finds this out doing exploration on Bobby aka Everett Lynch and he tells a shocked Jada they can't move forward with their plans. Sloan Peterson Brady, Jessica Surfety, checks it out and she also finds Jada's divorce papers were no way filed at the courthouse in Seattle, and no bone understands why. Days of Our Lives spoilers Jada's big shocker, divorce papers never filed. It would feel that someone did some dirty divorce dealing and married fraud when she got her final decree, which is proven faked, but who? Jada tried to do a divorce in absentia because Bobby had faded and she had no interest in staying 7 times so she could try to declare him dead. Knowing what she knows now about Mr. Stein, she regrets not speeding the process. DOOL spoilers, missing persons papers were filed. Supposedly Bobby and Everett were living their separate lives at the same time in Seattle, and Jada is forced to involve Stephanie Johnson, Abigail Klein, to compare notes. It's been delicate for indeed Marlena Evans, Deidre Hall, to track down Bobby/Everett's medical history to substantiate his claims. Steve Johnson, Stephen Nichols, set up his birth instrument and some parent information. Yet, the strange part is that indeed though missing persons papers had been filed and his print circulated, no bone ever saw either interpretation of him. His claim to Stephanie was he was walking to the post office to post commodity and woke up in a sanitarium as a John Doe having been hit by a auto. Nothing seems to add up about his story. Seattle is a large megacity. Could he have really hidden that well, or did he simply skip city, maybe across the border to Canada? Days of Our Lives spoilers, were the divorce papers interdicted by Everett Lynch/Bobby Stein himself? Rafe and Jada agree it's a reach, but could the divorce papers have been interdicted by Bobby himself and the final decree faked and transferred to Jada? The courthouse in Seattle verified for Sloan that no papers had ever been filed. It's a crazy case to be sure, but Marlena is chancing there may be further than one personality, according to Everett, who is allowing anyone differently to see the findings. Rafe and Jada would have to get a leave to get his lines, and there's no crime he's lately committed that they could request a leave over. When Stephanie and Jada and Rafe all compare timelines, the divorce form that did end supposedly be an Everett/Bobby's exposure all happened around the same time.